So I thought I'd wait till now to mention, let's look at our schedule, okay? Even when we get to Thursday, it says flyer invite. You leave at, and why, I don't know if students lean up against that whiteboard and if their hair erases it. When you go to Freeman on Thursday, it just says, what, 10, 15, 10, 20, 10 something is when you leave. That, I guess that doesn't affect this class anyway. Whew. Oh, I guess I have the master schedule here. It's just more convenient for me, and then everyone can see it up there. I've just always done it that way. April 18th. Must be the bottom one here. Leave at 10:45. Okay. So then there's two vocabulary evaluations, one on Wednesday, and then we'll wrap this up. Now, it says families on Friday. Okay? So what that means is on this paper that I will hand out, okay, we want you to give these are all the orders that we want you to know and a characteristic. And for those of you who weren't here on Thursday, where do you get that information? Say that again. Well, that's where we inform you on the Science Channel where to find it. So if we watched it, then we know where it is. No, now it's the day after the day after the day after. Okay, and I think we may have even given specific page numbers. Okay, so for these orders, it's in their blue boxes, I want to say. Oh, no, they're not. But they're back here. It just says classification of living mammalian orders. Okay, and it has on page 418, and it's got the pictures on there. So when we say families, okay, just use, even from a distance, probably even that far back, what do we see here? Am I not pointing to it? Okay. So then what class are bears in? I'm going to throw this at you if you get this wrong. What class are bears in? I'm getting ready to wind up here. Those are mammals. Okay? What order are bears in? Now, this is all bears. Say that again. Nope, that's the phylum. Think of their teeth. Yeah, they're carnivorans. It's once we get down to the once we get down to the families, that's where it starts to differentiate because of different places in the world they live. A polar bear will be different from that of a grizzly bear, that of a brown bear, that of a sun bear, okay? And when we start talking about family names, it's called Eurysis, I believe, is the family name for that of bears, okay? So then, right, goes back to sometimes when grizzlies lose their teeth, because that does happen. So what does that mean? Well, the grizzly just has to bear it then with no teeth. Yeah. Grin and bear it. No, that's a liar. No, they don't thump their chest. No, they don't do that either. Just stand up and look intimidating. How's my bear look?
You have to growl.
Rawr. Roar! Lots of years of not smoking allows you to take a deep breath. And now, when I say lots of years, I mean 0 years of smoking. Oh, I think it's a rite of passage to where, this is the cool thing to do. You're teenagers, everyone else is smoking. Why don't you do this? And then it doesn't take long. I said, this is retarded, so I'm not doing this. Okay. Lisa, I did. That's what I mean. It's a rite of passage, just like with everything else. It's stupid, I think. And it's just my opinion. It's stupid. It's just my opinion doing this and putting that is silly too. Okay? It's just an opinion. Okay. So when we're talking about a lot of the ungulates, okay? Can someone be a little more specific? Who would an ungulate be? Now, undulates, that's a snake going through his undulations, but an ungulate. Okay, so it's something with hooves. So there are two separate orders. Do we remember from 1 year ago and 2 years ago what those might possibly be? I wouldn't expect that you know, but you might remember. One's Parasidactylia. The other one's Ardactylians are horses and zebras, and that would be your equine family. And then when you're looking at Cape buffalo, water buffalo, you could say even domestic cattle, those are in the bovine family, Bovidae actually. And then I think it was Wednesday we talked about this. I still can't wrap my head around it. Goats must be ruminants then too. That's just what I think, because goats have their ungulates. They would have 2 toes on each hoof. They're herbivore. Well, I think goats pretty much eat anything, probably just like swine do. But anyway, what is significant about the breakdown or digestion of materials within the bovine family? Do they have problems breaking things down themselves? In other words, when we break down materials, us as humans, we have the hardware that we can break a lot of plant materials down. But can bovine do that on their own? They cannot. So if cattle are not making that themselves, what are they getting a little help from? Well, that will break things down, so enzymes have a greater surface area to do that, but it's not the cow making the enzymes themselves. There's something that helps them with that. And I think it says that on here. Okay, maybe just not right, because here we see herbivores. Okay, so then let's see here. Okay, so then when you say they're chewing their cud, you're exactly right. It's just that these guys, little guys, are helping them out. Okay, because it's these bacteria then that actually create the enzymes that cattle need to do that. And it's really no stretch of the imagination that that actually happens, because for us as humans, if we live, there's nothing wrong with having a plant-based diet, but if you really want to get all your nutrients with just eating plants, is that a potential problem? It's not that it is, but do you need to take in more and more plant? Yes, you do, because the nutritional value just isn't quite as high as what it is for being a carnivore. So then what are your 4 chambers? Because we're talking about 4 chambers here, and what clue can you use to give yourself, this is the order of the chambers? Okay, the rumens first, Rome. So rumens first, omasum, abomasum, then reticulum. Okay, so the true stomach is which one? I believe it's the abomasum, okay? Okay. I believe it's the abomasum, okay, the true stomach, okay? And then this is where we think normal digestion would really take place. It's once after chewing their cud that they've actually spread and broken. When I say broken, I mean really flatten a lot of that cellulose-based material apart. Okay? And then I think this is where we start, correct? So then, this is something that you might have to think about. Meals are organized, okay? So why is it that if they're organized, why are some carnivores constantly hunting? Because if they're organized, that means they're going to have set meals at certain times, but that doesn't explain their behavior. Why are they constantly on the prowl for feeding if they're organized? It's a tough question. And just because I think I know the answer, I'm trying to ask it in a manner that if you think about it, then maybe we'll be thinking the same. But why, that doesn't answer that question. If we say that they're organized, why are some, like felines, why are they constantly hunting? Especially cheetahs. I almost said cheaters. Cheetahs. They're known for this. And sometimes tigers. If their meals are organized, why are they constantly hunting? Okay, so think about what are they hunting? Whether it's a cheetah, tiger, especially tigers. Their most common food source are mules, but not mules, the farm animal, mule something else, mule deer, okay? So, tigers are fast, but for anyone who's seen even white-tailed deer run, they're not very slow either. So even though their meals are organized, not every hunt is going to be successful. So if that's the case, once a kill is made, would that animal, per se, consume that entire meal in one setting? Probably not. It's once that has happened, then these meals can probably be organized. Feed till you get your fill. Just leave this to decompose. Come back at a later time. Eat a little more, and then finally maybe consume the whole thing. So, does anyone think they might know some of the hunting behaviors of leopards? They're always in constant, let's say, not contact, but or communication, always in constant competition with lions. Okay, so obviously we're talking about in Africa now. So what might a leopard do? Leopard or jaguar? No. I think it's leopards. So there's a certain behavior that they do with their prey item. How can they ensure, well, do their best to ensure that lions will not get their kill? Climb up trees, actually put their prey items up in the tree. They're strong enough to do that. Okay. So moving forward. So then this is if they're both plant and animal-based diets. Obviously we know that. These are the most common, most successful. Okay. But then there's one on here that we talked about earlier. That rawr, bears. Bears are certainly omnivores as well. Okay. And one of the things that makes these animals so successful, okay, is, you could say, whether it's basketball, baseball, and even volleyball. If, per se, in volleyball, your hit or kill is not working, so then maybe you do a tip this direction. Maybe that's not working, but maybe you might do a tip in the opposite direction. So whatever isn't working, you find something that does. In baseball, if you're pitching and, gosh, the fastball's not working, the curveball's not working, but maybe that slider is working. And then what else? Oh, in basketball, maybe the outside shot's not working, maybe the short jump shot isn't working, but maybe if you do a dribble drive and then maybe pass it off to a teammate, maybe that's working. So that's what we're getting at here. These animals are so successful in finding something to eat is if one aspect of their diet's not working, they just find a different food source. Not many animals can really do that. Because if you are an herbivore and if you start to run out of your habitat, it makes it really tough for an animal like that to survive. But if you can take in a variety of different types of food sources, you're going to be much, much more successful. Okay, so where does that put us? I want to get through. Okay, I wanted to get through feeding specializations to get that done with. Okay. Who else might do echolocation besides chiropterans or bats? Some whales and dolphins, okay? And then what other aspect, okay? It's not that we're talking about flight, but when we're going from tree to tree, and this might be 100 feet up in the air. What is it that primates have that allows them to do it? Not with flight, but it'd be a pretty good idea to know where that next limb is and how far away it is. What is it what advantage do they have that allows them to do this besides their thumbs and being able to swing? Oh, well, that branch is 12 feet away. How would they know that? Yes, they've got that binocular vision that allows them to see how far something, another object is away. And some people are better at it than others. So like 8 feet, 6 feet, 6 or 5.5, 7 feet, 9 feet, 14 feet, and probably 17 feet. Of course, I don't know how accurate any of that is. Everyone's saying, gosh darn, he's a human tape measure. Yeah, probably not. Just need to know how and when to end per end things. Right? See, now you know. End per end it. Or something is on one side, you end per end it, and it's on the other side. Yeah. Okay, then finally, all right. So then, even if you didn't read any further, what does it mean to be nocturnal? Sleep during the day, come out at night, because diurnal means you're like us, for the most part, sleeping at night and then up during the day. That's not true for everybody. Because how many of us know something, and maybe we're talking about individuals in here that, gosh, it's 1:30 in the morning. I don't want to go to bed yet. Maybe it's out of necessity. Maybe it's homework. We hope it's nothing to that effect, but sometimes there's no way of getting around that. And for those of you, when you do go off to college, I think, say, well, we're going to pull an all-nighter here. You know, it's something that you can do, but I would not recommend it, speaking from experience. That's one of them, do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay, that doesn't happen very often because all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just not very productive. It's just not. The only way that's productive is maybe makes you feel, yeah, I did everything that I could to be successful on this exam. That might be the only thing. But anyway, because your brain needs its sleep too. Okay, so I'm going to hand this paper out. It says the 23rd, which is a week from Wednesday, which is the same day as for just yourself going to Brookings or SDSU. These numbers here, I don't know if that shows up on, it does. These are just the numbers of days where those classes are affected by inactivity. That's all that those numbers mean, okay? And it makes sense as the juniors just because there's so many track meets that start in the early afternoon. And of course, sophomores are right up there too. All right. We'll catch up to you next time.